counting down, flashing.
Okay. So I've got all my things here, the flour, the water, the starter, the bowl, and my spatulas. And let me see, I need a paper towel. So I start with a little piece of a damp paper towel at hand. Okay, so this is my bowl. It's 2 cups. It's real slick inside, and it's not as straight as I'd like it because it's hard to tell when it doubles, when the starter doubles, but it works really well, and it's easy to get the starter out and clean out the bowl. So what I'm going to do is turn on my scale, put it on grams, weigh the bowl. I've got a little piece of tape. I'm going to mark the bowl's weight, and I'm going to get another piece of tape to mark the height of the starter. I fold the little end over to make a tab so it's easy to remove later. So I'm going to put that on, the smoothest part, weigh it 17 grams. I'm going to take a little Sharpie, and I'm going to write 17 grams on the tape. That way, later, when I wash the bowl, I can just peel that off. Comes off real easy. But I know how much that bowl weighs now. In case I forget, it'll still be there. I'm going to get another piece of tape, fold the end over to make a tab for easy removal. And I'm going to put it down here somewhere. And I'm going to use it for marking. I'm going to take the Sharpie and I'm going to mark the height of the starter after I get it mixed up and put in the bowl smoothly. And then I'll have an idea when it's approximately doubled in size. So, with that on there, it's 18 grams now. When I'll go with 17, my scale's not perfect. So, I'm going to push the tare button, and that will take the scale measurement down to 0. And then just in case my scale isn't working properly after that, because sometimes it's goofy, I'm going to throw something else on there. It's still working. I just want to make sure it will actually weigh after I tare the thing. And what we're going to do is make a 60-gram levain. So we're going to use 10 grams of starter, 50, that's what I'm doing, 110 grams. I can't remember what the recipe wants, but I'm just going to do it this way for illustrative purposes. 10 grams of starter, 50 grams of water, and 50 grams of flour will be 110 grams of active starter in about 12 hours. So I like to do the water first before the starter, because then sometimes I see the starter float, and then that makes me happy. Most people do the starter first. $50 grams of water. Now I'm going to stir my starter before I take any out of it. I like everything to be incorporated evenly, and I don't know exactly how the starter grows. If there's more action at the top or the bottom, I don't know, so I like to stir it up. And 10 grams isn't really a lot. I think it's about 2 teaspoons. If you're weighing your starter, that's not as critical. And it won't float very well if I weigh it. So I've got 57 grams in there. That means I need 3 more grams of starter, because I had 50 grams of water. If I get a little bit extra, I'm not going to worry about it. Look at that, 60 grams. Awesome. Now I'm going to need 50 grams of flour. First I need to stir this up so it's well incorporated. Once I add the flour, all the starter isn't going to be sitting in one spot. It doesn't have to be mixed perfectly or that thoroughly, but you do Need to get some of that yeast spread out amongst all the water. All right. Now, a little bit of my water stuck to my spatula. I'm not going to worry about that. Oh, there we go, 60. So I'm going to end up with 110 grams total because there's 60 in there, and I'm going to add 50 grams of flour. Oh, I needed 110, right? Sorry about that. The reason we do equal amounts of flour and water is because a lot of the recipes want the starter to be a 1-to-1 ratio of flour and water. They call it 100% hydration because you take the amount of flour and multiply it times 100%, and that's how much water you use for your starter. Then we're going to stir it up. The flour will puff out and get everywhere, as you well know, if you bake anything with flour in it. So stir carefully. And try not to get it all over the sides of your bowl if you can, but we're going to scrape it down after we mix it. So it's not the worst thing ever. And it's pretty thick, like very thick oatmeal or thick peanut butter. A lot of people make theirs like a batter, like a pancake batter. That's really too watery. I don't know why they do that. And depending on what flour you use, it could be more liquidy than mine. I use a blend of flour with some whole grains in it and some bread flour, which are all high in protein, high in fiber and such, and it makes the batter thick. Then I try to flatten it out a little bit as best I can. And I'm going to scrape off my one spatula because there's a lot of stuff left on it. I need it in the bowl. And it's hard to clean up. It's very sticky. And so I use one spatula to scrape off the other. And I go back and forth a little bit. It's a little tedious, but it's worth it. And this is one better one for scraping, so I'm going to scrape it down a little bit better. Just takes a minute. And then I'll have to scrape off my spatula a little bit one more time. And then I'm going to take this little wet paper towel and I'm going to wipe inside here. I try not to get it in the starter because the starter is really sticky and it'll stick to the paper towel just like it does the spatulas. But if I do this, I get a better idea how it looks after, if it starts falling after it peaks, I might be able to see that it actually fell. If I get the sides clean, at least somewhere in the vicinity of where the starter is going to end up rising to. And that's it, it's fed now. I'm going to set the lid on top, tighten it very loosely so there's give to it so the gases can escape. I'm going to let it sit on the counter for 12 hours. That's it.